Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the 8th day of Inkvent, which is right over here. I am dressed in all black today because sadly today is John Lennon's 45th Yahrzeit death anniversary, and this is the 33rd year I have worn all black on this stage. It's hard to believe he's been gone that long and that he was alive in my own lifetime. Obviously, I'm like way too young to have a memory of being alive at the same time as he was, but it was an honor to share planet Earth. And I also wear my little dove necklace for peace on this very, very sad day of the year. So, somber tone throughout. And I kind of hoping today's ink is going to be a really like dark or maybe like a gray shade to match this somber mood, and particularly for writing my journal entry about it later in today, a kind of like morning specific color. So we're gonna see what's shaking up behind door number 8, the saddest day of the year for me. Pull open 8, there it goes. Oh, it's purpley dream catcher. So okay, that looks like it's some kind of a purpley tone. That looks nice, like a purpley gray. And this is extreme sheen. That's going to be very interesting. See how that will shape up for the kind of ink I like to write with on the 8th of December. So I will see you guys when I set up my overhead tripod. That's definitely going down dark. Exactly what I was hoping for today. I'm not sure what color the sheen is exactly. It looks more, I'm seeing a dark blue undercoat as I'm laying it down, so definitely not looking purple like the label seemed to give the impression of, although of course in extreme sheen it could turn out to have a really, really dark purple sheen. And I love the color blue. It's my second favorite, particularly dark and medium tones of blue. So yeah, this is definitely shooting to one of my top favorites in the Inkvent calendar already. It makes up for yesterday's disappointment of blush. I mean, I don't want to say I didn't like the color. It is a nice, creative shade and stuff, but just not my style at all. And it was just way too dry for me to write with, even in a broad nib. Although I don't know, maybe like Lamy nibs are kind of dry. You never know. Sometimes it just, when you change up the nib or the pen you're using, the ink performs completely differently. And of course, a lot depends on the paper too. I just can't stop writing with this beautiful, beautiful dark ink. Exactly what I was hoping for on the 8th of December. In last year's 8th day was like Marley, after the ghost in a Christmas Carol, kind of like a grayish tone. I don't know if like someone at Diamine is doing this on purpose for the 8th, or that's just, a coincidence that's, very fitting. So yeah, definitely I would totally put this on my, get a full bottle when they come out list. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, blue, and I'm seeing kind of a dark purpley sheen. I cannot say enough good things about this wonderful, wonderful ink. Hopefully that doesn't bleed through onto the next page. And that's up at the top. I'll have to check if it's in frame up at the top. No, it's not. I'll pull it down a little bit for you guys. This is one of the, drawbacks of not having nearly enough practice with a overhead tripod filming. I can't see what exactly is in frame or if I'm like zoomed in close enough, but yeah, that's a little bleed through from yesterday's. Just, embrace it for what it is. This is all like a learning experience for me. Practice makes perfect. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like my two favorite colors together. This is so absolutely perfect. I can tell I will be inking up a pen with this lovely, lovely ink. It's beautiful. Yeah, this writes just as wonderfully as it was swatching up. So dark and perfect. It really does evoke the feel of, a dream catcher. I probably had more space to paint a little bit more on the swatch card, but sometimes you want to err on the side of caution and not leave like too much, or not leave like only a tiny scrap of space to write the name of the ink. Yeah, definitely. It looks black as I'm writing down the name of it. It doesn't really look, you know, purpley or blue at all, but that's the magic of extreme sheen. Right up at the, yeah, I definitely could have had space to do another little bit of swatching down at the bottom. I know I've some people, I'm the extreme opposite of some people I follow on PenTube and InkTube. They don't really do too much on their swatch cards. It's just like a little bit, whereas I try to fill up as much as possible with the ink, get that out so I don't accidentally knock it over. Hopefully I'm not leaning into the frame and showing you guys my hair. Just have to hold it down so I don't, you know, knock it over. Diamine. Yeah, this feels like a nice wet ink too. You know, writing with a dip pen can be a little bit awkward. And at least this is somewhat long enough to, you know, comfortably hold, unlike the Dominant Industries ink muddler. Inkvent. And now I have enough space to write down at the bottom. 2025. I can do a 1/2 for each. Day 8. Enough space for that. Day 8. Day 8. I always write frowny faces in the circles of my 8s since 1993. That's yet another custom I have, which I, you know, associate with this date. This is a great ink. I can't wait to start doing the, well, I can't do the writing sample up at the top where yesterday's ink bled through. I will have to, you know, pull this down a little bit and put that off to the side, and I'll do some comparisons with last year's extreme sheen inks that do have a kind of similar look to that, but this is definitely one of my top winners already. Like, total fan of this gorgeous, absolute stunner. This ink, it's everything I love in an ink. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record. There I go, like writing poorly in print again, because I normally do not write letters that are, you know, nearly this big, but I just, you know, like to fill up the space, and this time I won't have to squeeze it in, just, you know, like words don't fit on one line, just, you know, hyphenate them for the next line. That's one of the many reasons I've always, you know, preferred the, sorry if my hair is leaning into the frame, I've always preferred the, you know, like 8 by 11, 8.5 by 11 trim size notebooks instead of these like little ones, because I can fit so much more on a huge trim size than I can on like a tiny ass notebook like this. Teal Edition, Day 5. Edition, day, I always say the wrong date when I'm saying what day it is. Of course, Day 8. How could I forget today is December 8th. Edition. Teal Edition, Day 8. Which one's going? Okay, yeah, Day 8 first, and then write the name of the ink. See, this is still a learning process for me. It's not, you know, oh, now I do this, now I do that, because I haven't been doing these kinds of videos, you know, nearly enough to, you know, familiar to the frowny faces. Frowny faces. Squeeze that in. Day 8. There's not enough space, so just do some, you know, squiggles. Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher. Extreme sheen. I really like sheening inks. They just have so many beautiful effects. Dreamcatcher. Yeah, now I'm starting to write print that's closer to my normal size instead of like huge ass lettering to fill up space. Dreamcatcher. And more squiggles. And this is an extreme sheen. And of course I'm going to, you know, write a quote from John to like fill up the space after I write a few thoughts about the ink, and I will get back to you guys with the completed writing sample and which pen I decided to put this in. I'm such an absolute fan of this ink already, definitely on the full bottle list. there's my completed writing sample. I had a really good time writing with this ink. It's really, really beautiful, you know, like wet, flowing, performs so well. An absolutely beautiful sheen, like lovely color, so smooth. I would 100% get a full bottle of this, and I wrote a couple of, you know, John's quotes down at the bottom. I ran out of room for the final quote that it ends with, you know, I'm one of those people, talking about how he's always been a freak and a nonconformist, not going to change, you know, for anybody, you know, the way I feel about myself as well, you know, like screw conformity. Why wouldn't you want to be to your own drummer and be one in a million rather than one of a million? And I put the ink in my medium nib Apollo Astro Gems from Benu. I think they're my, you know, favorite brand, judging from how many of them I have, more than any other brand. I should probably, you know, cap up that so I don't have an embarrassing, you know, spill on my hands. The swatch card is still drying. This is a really lovely, beautiful, beautiful wet ink, and it does look a little bit similar to last year's Extreme Sheens. I'll, you know, pull those up. This was Vibe last year from day 18, my secular birthday. This year my Hebrew birthday and my secular birthday will be on the same day for the first time since I was born. Usually most people's birthdays coincide a lot sooner than that, but you know, you never know how the calendar will shake them out. You should probably like hold them up together for comparison. That was, you know, embarrassing. So that's a much closer, better look now. So Dreamcatcher and Vibe last year, that was more of like a dark tealy undertone and a really dark purpley black kind of sheen. They do very look similar, but the Dreamcatcher seems to be lacking the teal. It's more of a very, very dark blue undercoating, and Cosmic Glow, which was another favorite from last year. So beautiful. They very, very similar, but again, Cosmic Glow's undertone is purple, and Dreamcatcher looks, you know, like a very, well, I mean, I see blue here, of course, but it's more of a, you know, purpley for the Cosmic Glow, and this is, you know, blue instead of purple. And I also thought of the 7 Deadly Sins, Sloth and Lust, which I really enjoy writing with. I just pulled them out. I have a video where I did the swatching of the 7 Deadly Sins line and talked about a surprise Purgatorio and Dante, because I just absolutely love Dante and the Divine Comedy so much. Where am I? Sloth. Here it is. A Sloth isn't really that similar because it's not an extreme sheen, but it does have that blue kind of undercoating to it. And I do realize a lot of people are like sick to the back teeth of, you know, blue inks with like a reddish, like purpley sheen, but you know, it's such a great classic color combination. And Lust doesn't really look that similar, like besides the fact it's not an extreme sheen. It's just, look at this, it's like barely any sheening at all. It's like most of what you see is blue, and then there's just a little bit of, you know, reddish poking through. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys again tomorrow for day 9 of Inkvent. Bye.